just joining us, BB Shea is in today instead of Biggie. We've got a lineup change. Biggie woke up not feeling well. Vomit in the shower. I've decided to...
That's my password. Thanks a lot. Great. Now I got to change all my passwords.
Vomit in the shower.
Shower vomit.
That's a good one. That's a really...
No one will... It's unhackable.
Shower vomit.
It was.
Exclamation point. I've decided to not text Biggie back or ask how he's feeling and thereby reject his illness.
What's that?
A total rebuke of illness.
You're rebuking a man's health?
I'm rebuking his health by...
Can you do that?
Not asking how... I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it today. That I'm going to...
Will that make you feel better short term?
I think so.
What about long term?
Well, I never really consider the long term. I'm not playing the long game here. You know, I guess I should be. Mostly, I'm going to be passive aggressive and take out my aggression on BB Shea, which he's already felt. He knows.
Yeah, he's felt it.
He knows this. By the way, my wife says I said a moment ago that I was going to stop cursing around her at home. This couple who was married 75 years. The husband in the relationship said, "How did we make it work so long? I never use foul language around my wife." And my wife texted me to say, if you stop cursing around me, it will hurt our marriage, not help it.
Well, sometimes you need a place to be to let it all out.
Just let it all hang out. That's probably true.
I don't want to name names, but you all know my wife.
Yes.
She got a notice that she was going to be jury duty today. And last night, of course, you make the call the night prior to see if they need you. And she's got the call. She has to report for jury duty. And I simply got a text message last night.
Can you read it?
No. It's too profane.
That's the kind of...
Well.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, yep, see it right there. And he responds, "Thanks, hon."
Okay, all right.
Well, F.
Well, F. That's just what it is.
Now, part of it was her work is very busy right now. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't want to put too much on her, but I think she was laboring under the misunderstanding that you can't bring anything with you. She said, "Can I bring my laptop?" Absolutely.
Oh, you can.
I said, "Bring snacks.
Yeah.
Bring water."
She can do her work.
Bring your laptop.
So at her
Because most of the time you just sit.
At her office today, they're going to have a lineup change.
Exactly.
And her boss will be spewing passive-aggressive at whoever's taking over for her.
Exactly.
All right, so they're going through
it all flows downhill.
Kind of
and
same thing,
you know who's at the bottom of that hill?
Right, BB Shea. In all cases. In all cases. Now, the other relationship, that this lasted only a very short time, I don't watch this show, Love is Blind. I know it's a big deal. Do you watch?
No.
There's a woman on there named Sarah Carlton.
Biggie loved it.
I know. He's a huge fan. Is it on Netflix? I think it's on Netflix.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. 8 seasons now, and there's a woman named Sarah Carlton, and the guy who was matched up with her this time was Ben Mazinga, and those two were ready to be married. And
they never see each other?
No.
Until
that's right.
The end of the show?
That's right. Love is Blind. You don't know what they look like until the end of the show. And those two were paired together, and they fell hard for each other, and he asked her to marry him, and she turned him down because she quizzed him about his political beliefs. And she said, I asked him about Black Lives Matter. And he said, I don't really think about it. And she goes, well, you need to think about these kinds of things. Those kinds of things affect me. Then she said, what's your take on the COVID vaccine? He's like, whatever. And then she said, what are your views on LGBTQ rights and transgender rights? And he goes, I don't know.
Was any of this on the program, or is this just in real life?
In real life. So
that would be great TV.
She was unable to go forward with the engagement because it wasn't like he disagreed with her. He's just like, I don't care, man. Whatever.
Well,
yeah. So those things are important to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to a church that was more traditional in its views toward the LGBTQ community.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, that didn't sit with her. So,
and they never came up during their courtship.
I guess not. A little, but not enough.
Okay.
Not enough during it.
I don't know anything about the program. I don't think anyone in this room does. But are these TV people, like TV good-looking people, or do they slip some Uggs in there?
They slipped some Uggs in. That was, I believe. Now, I haven't seen it. Biggie said they slipped some Uggs in, and that's the whole thing. Because remember one season, this is about 3 or 4 seasons ago, the guy said to the girl, well, who do you look like? Like, what celebrity? And she said somebody that was gorgeous.
Yeah, vaguely. It's coming back
Did
to
you say
me.
like Megan Fox or something?
Yeah, and then later she didn't look anything.
Because the
like
internet took her apart.
It just
Yeah.
crushed
You
her.
think you look like Megan Fox?
You look like Megan Fox. That's right. Do you think that? See, to me, and this is old school. This may be a get ready for a cold take. All right, get ready for this. I feel like two people with even diametrically opposite political views can be a couple. You know, just keep them to yourself. You vote one way, I'll vote the other, and that's the way it is. But maybe
it's
not
hard
anymore.
to keep everything to yourself.
Well,
I mean, when it sounds like that's important to both or her.
but if you love each other, I guess could she, like, if she really fell for this guy and loved him, could she overlook the fact that he doesn't have really any feelings on the things that are important to her? He could say, you do you and you support those causes all you want, but that's not my thing. Isn't that okay?
It is, but things have ramped up.
That's the
my
problem.
dad was a
Yeah.
Republican. My mom was not.
Right.
She was a Democrat.
Yeah.
But they were different on election day.
Yeah.
They had different thoughts about politicians.
Yeah. See, that's it. But
they married in 1961.
exactly. I'm thinking in 19.
The stakes have been ratcheted up.
Now,
What you are, what you believe is who you are.
now it's higher.
This guy may get a job with Doge. Jilted, fiance.
It's
To
possible.
go work for Elon.
All right, he could get a job with Doge, but I don't think so. He's not like he's committed to. He's not a Trumper.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound like maybe he voted for Trump. Who knows? But it wasn't like he said, "I'm totally MAGA." He just said. She said, "What do you think of LGBTQ?" He said, "I don't."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Well, that's too important to me. I can't let that go." What about you? You're single.
Yeah.
So if you met, well, you don't have much belief anyway.
No, I'm a lot like this dude
the
right
guy.
here.
Yeah, you don't care.
I mean, like, it doesn't bother me. I don't think about stuff like that.
So if a woman that you met and got into a relationship
Mm-hmm.
with was really into one way or the other, one political side of the other, would it bother you at all?
It depends on how into it she was.
Yeah.
Like if she was like, these are things I believe in,
Yeah.
but I'm not out like marching every weekend.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, believe what you want to believe.
Yeah, but see, I think Chris Demm is right that now it is more important
It
than
is.
it was.
And I wouldn't want to be made felt like I was lesser than because
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
care so much for things like
Yeah.
that.
That's
Which
what
I
she
feel
said.
like that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she said to him, this is important to me, and if it's not important to you, I can't marry you. I can't be in a relationship with you. I don't think in 1980 you would say that. Today,
No.
you do. That's how it is. Jeff, you're talking about this show, Love is Blind. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my wife and I were avid watchers of the show.
Yeah.
So they spend 10 days in the pods having they date all of the contestants.
Yeah.
And they see who they're compatible with, and then they narrow down who they want, and then they propose to each other.
Mhm.
Then they see each other, and they go on a luxurious vacation for like 3 days. This year was in Honduras. Then they spend the next month living together back in their city and deciding whether they get married at the altar. So in this situation between Ben and Sarah, she did ask these conversations. They showed the interviews in the pods,
Yeah.
and her sister is a lesbian, so she was very passionate about this stuff. She went to his church and kind of asked him, what are their views on gay rights and stuff like that. And he just was like, well, I'm not really sure. And so when she said no to him at the altar, she kind of pointed to those things. But then it was funny because at the reunion that aired on Sunday, this is now a year later in current time, they ended up dating after the fact. So, I mean, the thing was, she was kind of adamant, hey, I believe in these things. You don't really have any responses to them. You don't
Right.
feel like very passionate about it. But then they still dated. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it
Huh.
didn't work out.
Interesting.
It sounds like they made it up for TV.
Well, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah. What do you think? Now, Jeff, do you think you could be married to your wife if she had a differing political opinion than you today?
You know what? We actually talked about this because, 10 years, my wife and I, we've known each other now for 11 years. We've dated for 11 and been married for almost 4.
Yep.
And I think now, I don't know if we could kind of be married if we had very differing views, politically,
Yeah.
religion and stuff like that. Kids. Do I want kids? Do you not want kids?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So no, I do think it has changed, in the dating landscape.
I do too.
Mm.
I do. I think Kristen made a good point that it has changed. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
good call.
I wonder, what if you've been married to someone, like I've been married to my wife 22 years. Let's say in 2016, one of us turned one way, like full Trump, and one turned the other, like, oh, I can't stand Trump.
Full Hillary.
Full Hillary. And you're married, though. I mean, you're married. You've been married.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Demm's looking at me like, didn't that happen? I'm not going to comment.
It's an interesting example you
I'm
used.
not going to comment on it.
An interesting year you selected. And also politicians.
If one's wearing a MAGA hat to bed and the other one's got the Hillary pantsuit on.
Can this couple be saved?
I like the shoulder pads.
I like a pantsuit. Sue
Why?
me.
Sue me. I like a pantsuit. That's just how it is. So, yeah, she went full MAGA. I voted for Hillary.
It cost you $300 the day after, but did not cost you your marriage.
That's what I was first called a pab. You pussy. You voted for Hillary? I did. Okay, that's all right. Let's put it out there. Yes, I haven't said that in 9 years, but that is the case. And so yes, I'm living proof the marriage can survive that. She, remember, told my son, I don't want to influence your political decisions, but you will vote Republican. And I said, let's rein that back in.
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice, exactly. And I have to tell my children we're never to discuss who Dad votes for, especially
around Mother.
In that 2016 election, around Mother or mothers or anyone else on Mother's family or Dad's family.
Certainly not at the lake.
No. Or Dad's
now when
family.
you're climbing on the pontoon boat.
No, we do not discuss what Dad does or what Dad says privately from 2016 when I just thought, remember what I said there?
Yeah. How can she lose?
I said, there's no way Hillary Clinton can possibly.
Look at the polling data.
I really thought that was going to easily. I was just shocked that wound up happening. As you know,